Hey everyone, welcome back to Blurred Lines, Crime, Conspiracy, and the Truth Behind the Gossip. I am back. I apologize for the long-awaited episode. I was supposed to get this episode done last week, and unfortunately, I had started a new job, and I quit a new job within the 2-week period, and it just didn't work out for my family. So I am back, and we are here, and we are going to talk about it, guys. So just a couple of reminders before we get started today. I want to remind you guys to give me a follow over on TikTok, Ashtootrippy, as well as on my Instagram and Facebook. You guys can get all updates and new cases and gossip and all the Blurred Lines stuff you guys like here. You guys can get on a daily basis in those places as well. Okay, guys? I hope you guys are excited for today, and I hope you guys buckle up. This is a very sad one. I've been stuck to this case since it started, and I thought it was very appropriate to go ahead and do a podcast, and I'm kind of glad that I did it at this time because one of the people that are actually accused of this crime was in court, and so I wanted to kind of wait until then as well. So I hope you guys are ready, and if you guys are interested in true crime, conspiracy theories, and or gossip and blurring the lines between all three, definitely stay with me here and let's talk about it. So today we are going to be covering the case of Emmanuel Haro. Now, a lot of you guys followed this case out of California, and it's been just very heartbreaking. So Emmanuel Haro was a 7-month-old, and he was reported missing last year in Southern California. He was actually reported missing out of Yucaipa. That was the whole thing that kind of went viral. So on August 14th of 2025, Rebecca Haro, Emmanuel Haro's mother, reported an unknown man kidnapped Emmanuel while she was changing his diaper in a Big 5 parking lot. Again, that was in Yucaipa, California. Her story was that she was going to the Big 5 to get her stepson, because they were at his game, something that he was missing. I don't remember if it was like a mouth guard or something to that effect, because he was playing a football game. So she went to the Big 5, stated that Emmanuel needed his diaper changed. And so she went ahead and she laid him out in the back seat. I mean, as a mother, like this is a very normal thing to do. I'm not ever saying that this was an abnormal thing to do at all. But as a mother, you kind of see this and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. And it could have taken place, especially a mother saying this. So this goes in, I was changing his diaper. I got hit over the head. The girl Rebecca Haro had a black eye, but she said she got hit over the head, and when she woke up, the baby wasn't there. And then later on, just a few days later, on August 16th, there was inconsistencies that were discovered. Rebecca Haro and Jake Haro, who is also the father, I apologize, I forgot to mention him. So Jake and Rebecca Haro are the parents of Emmanuel Haro, who was 7 months old when this reporting took place. And again, this was August 14th that they reported this. And then on August 16th, the police were like, wait, hold on, let me ask you a little more questions. And they spotted inconsistencies. And then Jake and Rebecca stopped cooperating. Like, they stopped talking to the police. They asked for lawyers. They completely stopped talking to anyone. Before all of this took place, they were also on the news. So I want to play you guys a clip of them basically, explaining what had happened and pleading with the kidnappers to bring him back.
We come to you guys asking you to help us find our son. He was abducted last night from Big 5. Somebody struck my wife while she was trying to change his diaper. And we just ask if anybody knows anything to please contact Yucaipa Police Department.
Don't hesitate, just call.
His name's Emmanuel. He's 7 months. He's 7 months old.
Have you been notified of any information yet by local authorities?
No, we have not. They haven't told us nothing.
They said they don't have any major updates.
Do you guys plan on doing a local search of your own?
We are
we
at
have
4 o'clock here at Yucaipa.
the community set up a search party at 4:30. So, we just ask you guys if you can help us, you know?
Please.
This is what he looks like. He's just a baby. Just give our son back, please.
He was wearing a black onesie with a Nike swoosh on him. If you know anything, please come forward. Please. Please bring us back our son. Safe.
You hear in that video, I mean, they do sound like concerned parents, right? But they also sound like grieving parents. Going back and actually watching that and listening to it, it kind of strikes me a different way. Now, let me reiterate that. So, when I first saw this video, and I believe it was put out like 7 months ago, it's been like 7 months because this was back in August, I automatically was like, wait, something don't make sense. And then, you know, like, it didn't feel right. And you know that feeling when you get, and I'm sure people have felt it with like Chris Watts and all that other stuff. People have felt this just did not feel right. Worry and the grief was there, but in a weird way, right? I don't know. That's just my opinion. This was shortly before the police started discovering this and they stopped completely talking. Now, on August 17th of 2025, the Haros, Jake and Rebecca, they had also a 2-year-old daughter in the home, and she was removed from the home by CPS. Now, I believe it was at this time because they did gain access to their cell phones, I believe, around this time. Now, I could be completely wrong, but I believe that they did gain access to the cell phones at this time. And so they had somewhat of an idea of what had happened, because I believe these idiots, and, you know, pardon my, because I'm not normally like that. I don't usually do that. But when you take the life of your 7-month-old son, that's what you deserve. I think these idiots were talking about it. I think that texted about it. I think that she gave the concern that she had about it. I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Then on August 22nd, again, this all happened and began on August 14th. So this was a very short period of time. Jake and Rebecca Haro were arrested at their home in Cabazon, California. Kidnapping was revealed not to have taken place, and Emmanuel was presumed deceased. So again, this was August 22nd, and they did a whole press conference after they did the arrest. This got a lot of news coverage. So I want to kind of take you, before we go into the charges and before we go into what exactly has happened, because we don't really know for a fact everything that has happened yet, because again, this is an ongoing case. So I apologize in advance. This isn't going to be a very long podcast because it's still an active case. Even though there has been a couple of charges, it's still an active case. So we'll get to that. But I want to take you back to this time frame in August of 25 last year. I started reporting on this case right away. I don't know why. Sometimes there's certain cases that are like, they get me. And when I want to tell you, it was one of these videos, like the audio I just played for you. When I saw these parents talk to the public, I knew right away that I needed to say something. I gave them the benefit of the doubt in the beginning. Now, I also want to put in there that social media with this case went insane. And I want to, since we blurred the lines between gossip and all of that, I want to tell you guys that there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of creators, bigger creators. There was News Nation, all these other Law and Crime, all these reputable places became quickly unreputable when they started listening to one content creator in the area. And his name is Ahmed Biozo, and he is out of California. He's a content creator, and he reports on like I don't know if you guys, I have it in my area in New Mexico, but if you guys have like people that go out to the scene, and I'm sure there's a lot more of them in California, maybe in other areas that are more like rural, but there's people that are like out on the scene and they go live and they post about it and they talk about it and they do all this stuff. And it, like true crime community has become that over time with social media, and I've seen it more and more. And let me tell you, the ones that I've seen in my town, and even some that I've seen in California from doing this case, it is devastating how much they want attention, in my opinion. But this man, he flipped this case. He had search parties looking for the baby even after the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office told him, please stop interfering. And he took that as they were trying to hide something. So he started making all these videos and all this stuff, and I have so many videos. I have the video of all the proof on him and all the crap that he did to mess up this case that could have very well cost this case more than what it has right now. And it still may, because it actually, there's still stuff happening. This man completely flipped it on its head. He was going out on searches. He was possibly touching evidence. He was taking evidence out of where he found it. And all the time and I'm not going to put this past him, a dude has cancer. It's not an excuse to be a horrible human being. Jake Haro was taken out of prison shortly after he was taken in, and I want to see. So I don't have it, but again, Jake and Rebecca were taken August 22nd, and I want to say it was maybe like a few days after they were taken in. Jake Haro was taken on a little quote unquote field trip, and they took him to the side of a highway, and they took him out of the car, and he showed him, well, this quote unquote content creator, true crime, whatever he wants to call himself. He went to the scene and he was there and he went live. There was like a search party there. And they went back there, and nobody was talking to this guy, by the way. Nobody talked to him. They just going in, they had cadaver dogs there and all this other stuff, right? And he had the nerve to go on live and say that they found the body of 7-month-old Emmanuel, and that the coroner was en route. And that was completely false information. They had not, and even if they did find the baby or anything, they weren't telling him. They basically, I think that this whole thing was to trigger a memory or to get his response in what possibly could have happened with baby Emmanuel, Jake's response, his father. That was a big, huge thing, because even though he came on like 5 hours after he actually reported on this, he came on and corrected himself, it doesn't make it right. Especially when you're talking about like babies and when you're talking about so much emotion in a case, because again, it's a child. So there was a lot of media attention on this, and a lot of people out in California that had jumped on it and started making content because of this, because they were in the area and all that stuff. They started going along with this man's lies. He goes by On the Tierra. That's his handle. His name is Ahmed Biozo. People just started going with whatever he was saying. They started blaming the grandma, but he started blaming the grandma that she knew about everything, started blaming the family. There was so much blame that he pointed fingers at, and so much drama that he got in during this time that was so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary. And I just want to bring that to light, because I know it's happened in a lot of cases, like the Idaho 4 case. I think people just sometimes need to back off. Trust that the police are going to be doing it and that they're not out to get you. And I understand this man had a record and he had been to prison and all that stuff. But the fact that a sheriff told you, let us do our job, the fact that they told him like this can cost the case, and he went and stomping and crying and out of a courthouse is complete insanity to me. I think that it needs to be reported in a manner where it's not like, oh, let me get to it first. Oh, let me get that viral video. I hate that people do that now. I wait for something to completely come out, and so I can see the evidence. And if I don't see the evidence, I present it in a way where it's either opinion based, or it's something that I say I seen somewhere and I attach where I seen it at. It's sad. It's sad when stuff like that happens, and it makes a bad name for people that do true crime, that actually love true crime and do it for the right reasons and do it to bring awareness to a case, a fact, a problem, a missing person, because this all started as a missing child. Then on August 27th, Riverside District Attorney Office, they actually charged Jake and Rebecca Haro with murder and filing a false police report because of the missing status of him. There's also been another group of people that kind of stemmed off of on the Tierra, and it was a group of women. And, like as a mom, like this is very traumatizing. Like, as a mom, you look at your children, if you have children, and you're like, oh my God, when they were 7 months old, I can't even bear to think of discarding or anything that was said in this case. Like, there has been rumors that possibly Jake rolled over on him, but then they concealed it. And it's like, then they said that she had thrown all of his clothes and everything out of the home. There was a lot of stuff like that, right? And so when you're a mom and you hear things like that, it's disturbing. But it's not to say that everybody needs to even look at these cases. There's people that I know are triggered by cases like this that won't even listen to this episode. Even some of the people that love listening to every single thing. I know that. Because a lot of times cases about children are hard. Cases about children are devastating, and I understand that reporting on true crime. But there was another group of women that actually tried to contact Rebecca and Jake Haro in prison. One of these women actually went and tried to visit Rebecca Haro, and I don't know how she got in, and I've researched the like how you get into the jail facilities if you're not related to someone, and allegedly it's super easy to like just go online or call and be like, hey, I'm gonna go visit blah blah blah, and they're like, okay, let me put you on the books. And to my understanding, they have to approve of you. So everybody's been real suspicious of that girl because they're like, wait, that don't make sense. But I don't know. I've never been in prison. Don't plan on going to prison or jail or any of that sort. So I don't know. But she tried to visit her. Apparently, allegedly, she got to like see her, and Rebecca wouldn't see her. Just wouldn't make sense as a jail to be like, oh, let anybody come and visit even these highly televised cases, and then take the time out to get a guard to get the woman out of her cell or her block or wherever she's at, and then bring her all the way to the visiting facility for her just to turn around and take her back to her cell or her block. That's a lot of wasted energy, right? I don't know. That's just me thinking logically, because you guys know I love to. But that was another little subgroup that came from this whole case. Again, another disturbing element to, and they even talked about, I don't know if they ever did this, but they even talked about writing like they were the 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. Like, what? Like, I get grieving and I get disturbing, and that's just letting something affect you that you never healed from. And I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, you're not going to get anywhere. Like, I always thought, like, why was she doing this? Like, was she doing this for attention, or did she really want to get to know this person? It's very questionable. Again, this all happened in August. On September 4th, Jake and Rebecca pled not guilty, and they were held on a $1 million bond. Then over on October 3rd, Riverside County District Attorney's Office confirmed that the case remains open and investigators are focusing on upcoming court hearings. So this was something they had to do because everybody was mad at the Riverside County Sheriff's Office because they kept saying that the case was closed. Everybody kept saying, oh, well, they're not even going to look for the baby. They're not even going to do this. They're not even going to try to do There was a lot of stuff being thrown around. Again, not to point the finger, but it was a lot of the quote unquote social media people that lived in the area that started, going on this little showboat thing. And so the district attorney basically had to confirm that the case was open and Emmanuel's body was still not recovered. Now, what I want people to realize about this case the most is, and I get the comment all the time, every time I post a video about Jake or Rebecca or Emmanuel or the whole situation, I get the comment of, the baby's body hasn't been found. Emmanuel hasn't been found. Like, I wish they would say something. Now, it's not that they've not said anything to... I do believe that Jake has told them, or they have cell phone data or some kind of data showing them the area that the baby could have been in. Now, there's also been like a trash can theory that they just threw him in the trash, but they've also searched portions of the landfill that trash would have went to. The area they live in, but there was a lot of vast areas. There was a lot of desert. Even their home, if you guys see their home, they're literally like in the middle of a dirt lot. There was like a home and then a home next to it, and then you would see it was crazy, right? So to think that it's hard to find a full-grown person sometimes, just depending on, the area they're in. To find a little 7-month-old baby in an area that is inhabited with wolves, bobcats, and who knows whatever wildlife. And that's what the police have brought forward. They have said, like, we will search, or we will look. They've done aerial stuff too, and they're not searching when they weren't searching, but it was aerial. And they did a lot of drone searches and things like that. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I don't think they will find any remains of baby Emmanuel. I want to kind of bring you back to that Jake was on probation from a 2018 case. Basically, he was accused of abusing his daughter from a previous relationship and leaving her permanently disabled. The whole thing goes is Jake was this is his story. This is the story that he gave. He's holding his daughter. He dropped her on the sink and she fell on the ground. The injuries were inconsistent with that. Now, again, this daughter, I believe her name is Promise. She is now with Jake's cousins and she's permanently disabled in a wheelchair. So this was done by Jake Haro. So he does have prior child abuse. He had a prior child abuse case. He was not supposed to. He had like all of this stuff still happening when all of this happened with baby Emmanuel. I also want to throw in there that the same cousin actually took custody of Jake and Rebecca's 2-year-old as well. So they now have Jake's children. I mean, God bless them, because we need more people in the world like that, because that's just something that's so kind for them to take. Because, as a disabled child, her father did this to her as a disabled child. She wasn't going to be adopted by anyone. And it's still family. And this family doesn't even talk to Jake, so no worries, guys, on that, because there was a lot of concern with that. For that case in 2023, Jake had pled guilty to child cruelty charge, and he received a suspended sentence. Now, a lot of people, that's another whole barrel of things, is a lot of people are like, well, why did he receive a suspended, sentence on this? And part of it was because of the way he pled and the evidence that was brought forward and what he was actually doing to kind of quote unquote better himself, even though we see that wasn't taking place. I think that if they would have kept him, I don't think it necessarily would have stopped anything. I think it would have delayed it, but I think that eventually he would have gotten out. And he would have still had a kid. He would have still had another kid and all of that other stuff. There's way more to this case, and I'm not going to get into it because a lot of it's conspiracy theories. A lot of it. So if you see anything that's not in this podcast online, it's probably a conspiracy theory, not true, or you're watching somebody that's trying to get views. Again, that's all my opinion, but that's what I've seen in this case. Now, on October 16th of 2025, Jake pled guilty to the murder of his son and the false reports. They did a felony settlement conference, and if you guys don't know what that is, basically it's where both parties come and they either, agree on some kind of plea, or they say, okay, yeah, we're going to move forward with the trial. And at this case, Jake actually surprised even his lawyers, and his lawyers had to make sure that he was doing that, and he pled guilty. And he was sentenced to 31 years. After that, he may apply for parole, and he could face a longer sentence. It's basically 30 years to life. Like, he's not getting out anytime soon. A lot of people say, oh, that was nothing. That was nothing. You got to remember, he's in his 30s. Even if he were to apply for parole and get it, like, his prior charges are in there. I've been seeing that let's kind of get into that right now. So he has been in jail, and in December, he actually was in the hospital. He went to the hospital, and something had happened in the shower. Now, there's a lot of rumors going on again online about this. People say that it was prison justice, but it could have been anything. Nothing was released in this, so he could have fell in the shower. But I do know that he also had a lot of investigation for workman's comp claims and all of that stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if he were to fake it till he made it. Honestly, it really wouldn't. Now, Rebecca Haro, the mother of 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro, she actually was just in court on January 21st, just yesterday, because I'm actually filming this on Wednesday. Yes, I'm procrastinating. Hey, how are ya? Sorry, Jeffree Star. Don't copyright me, please. Anyways, yeah, so she was in court on January 21st, and they basically continued. We're not going to hear anything until March 26th, and that's when the next felony conference is scheduled. But basically, they couldn't come to terms with either her pleading guilty and coming to that conclusion. So trial, as of right now, is still going to take place with Rebecca Haro. A lot of people are speculating that it's because of the evidence. I do not believe it's because of the evidence. I just think that it's her and her lawyer buying time to not only go over everything that they have, but I feel like also create more of a game plan because they don't have it yet. Because I feel like the evidence is really overwhelming. Again, this is an ongoing case, so we don't have any kind of records, but I will keep you guys updated, and I'm hoping to do a part 2 when all of that becomes available. Thank you guys so much for coming today. I apologize if it's a shorter episode than normal, but I felt like Emmanuel Haro needed this, and I spent a lot of time on this case from August to now, and I've watched all of the court appearances, and I've done all of that, and I've dealt with the backlash of calling people out on this case on what they've been doing and spreading false information on social media. And I just think it's something that needs to be put out there, and you need to realize that the victim in this case is Emmanuel. And the fact that people want to also point the fingers at family members that lived nearby, and they want to point fingers at anybody close to them is absurd, because you really don't know what somebody's going through. Like, the people can hide things in plain sight. And that's why we talk about them here on Blurred Lines, Crime, Conspiracy, and the Truth Behind the Gossip, where sometimes things get a little blurry. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to follow me on all my social media, including my YouTube channel, where this will be available. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay positive, stay awesome, and we'll talk about it next time. Bye, guys.